Question 35. The function of x is 2x minus 7. What is the inverse of this function? So let's just talk about what this x and the arrow means. That is a posh way of saying the function of x. And functions in maths are what you do to numbers and what you do to letters. So the function of x is basically a posh way of saying this is what you do to x. So this is what you do to x. Now, having said that, we can take this a stage further. So this is what you do to x, 2x minus 7. So what we've got to do is say, well, what are we doing to x? Well, to x, we are times it by 2. We've got 2 of them. And then we are taking away 7. That's what we're doing to x. We're doubling it, and then we're taking away 7. So you could write it as a little number machine like that. Now, it's not like an equation where if there was an equals on the end, equals 13 on the end, for example, we'd put 13 would pop out the other side. It's not like that. It's not an equation. So we're not trying to figure out what x is. We're trying to say what the opposite function is, or what are the opposite things that we do to x. So what we do now is we basically reverse this. So the opposite of take away 7 is add 7, and the opposite of times 2 is divide 2. And we're trying to come up with the opposite function of this, the inverse function. So if we started with x and then we times it by 2 and we take away 7, if we want to do the opposite things in the reverse order, then this is what we do. We would start with x and then we would work backwards. So we would add 7 and then we would divide the whole thing by 2. Now, if you put divide 2 on the end, that would technically be wrong because of bin maths. Because bin maths would say do the divide first before the add. And in this number machine here, going backwards, we've got to do the add first. We've got to make sure it's clear that we have to do the add 7 first, because that's the first thing we come to on the way backwards. So to make sure we do the add first, we could either put a bracket around the x add 7 to make sure we did that first. So x add 7 divided by 2. Or another way of getting around that problem is to put our x add 7 and then put a massive dividing line like that and then 2. Because that also means do x add 7 first, do everything on the top line before you divide it by 2. So either of those two answers are correct. Reverse function is x plus 7 all in a bracket divided by 2, or x plus 7 all over 2.